is your weekly celestial forecast for the week beginning October 30th, 2023. And on Monday, we've got the moon in Gemini making a square with Sirius, Saturn. So, Gemini likes to socialize, it's very chatty. And Gemini likes to be on the go. And Saturn is in Pisces, so Saturn is in a more emotional state right now, even especially retrograde. Remember, retrograde planets are not always at their best. So we're feeling a little bit held back or blocked on Monday in our communications. And with Saturn there, it kind of creates a little bit of some peevishness. We may feel blocked in our communications, and yes, we may kind of criticize or nitpick over those details now in our sense of frustration and confusion on Monday, because Saturn in Pisces only kind of exaggerates that lack of clarity in our communications. And with Gemini, we just want to talk and be open to all forms of communication. So this is kind of creating a little bit of some deterrence in our expressions to each other, and be careful on Monday not to be overly sensitive and picky, because that then could cause some rather minor disputes. And we've got Uranus and Jupiter and Taurus yet. And Uranus for the first few days of the week is going to be in a beautiful trine with Venus, the planet of love. And in fact, for most of this week, we've got a beautiful grand Earth trine. So this kind of smooths over any kind of ruffled feathers in any relationships, and especially in what business, because Earth, Pluto in Capricorn, Uranus in Taurus, and Venus in Virgo is all about business. It's about money. And when you've got a grand trine here this week in Earth, this is only helping us to build upon our finances. It's very good for job or business news, even within our communications with each other with business. So starting off the week, we may get some really good job news, and by week's end, we may have more in the bank than we started with. So that's all too good starting off the week on Monday. Yes, it's a very smooth tenor in our communications with each other. So if there's any extra critical behavior on Monday and some unclarity, well, this sweet grand trine really helps to ease some of the issues in particular at that point of time. But we do have the oppositions between the Scorpio stellium and Jupiter. So on one hand, this is a very helpful connection here in the opposition, but it is also very competitive. And here in fixed signs between Taurus and Scorpio, and with Taurus retrograde, we want to be very generous, but with Jupiter kind of holds back a bit of our expression, and it is in a fixed sign, so this only creates a little bit more determination in us to make money, to get ahead. We're feeling a little bit more determined, kind of locked in, if you will. Sometimes within the opposition in the fixed signs here, especially here between Taurus and Scorpio, we are feeling awfully competitive. This ups this sense of drive and competition. And when you've got Mars, the depositor, as well as Pluto of Scorpio, we are feeling extra focused this week. But given that, we don't want to get involved or lost in any conflicts that could be really blown out of proportion because we got Jupiter, the planet of expansion and, yes, generosity and good fortune. But remember, Jupiter likes to make a big deal out of things, and when it opposes Scorpio, the uh the connection with fixed, the connection with water, well, we may become rather emotional. So it's like there could be some disagreements that get blown out of proportion, and there could be a little bit of some drama here, and we're really kind of upping our power plays with each other this week, because keep in mind, Pluto is, as well as Mars, the action and aggressive planet here, are really turning up the volume. It's one thing that we're very focused on our work. We're determined. We want to get things done. We want to research because Scorpio is a natural research. We like to dig below the surface. But it's another thing when we've got this opposition here where we were really kind of clenched in our sense of values and our belief systems, because Taurus is the second house. So be very careful about that right at the start of the week. Yes, indeed. But we do have a really wide trine on Monday, really wide, uh, between the Sun and Saturn. So that really gives us a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility. And it's a very sensitive connection here. On Monday, yes, we may have some frustrations going on within ourselves, uh, some delays, some blocks within this opposition. Scorpio Taurus, but we also have this sense of charity and this sense of just kind of going with the flow. That's the beauty of water here, kind of getting things done. We're going to step up to plate, complete those tasks and duties that need to be done. And that's a real positive on Monday. And boy, talk about focus. So don't get lost in your frustrations or oppositions, and that's the key here on Monday. And of course, Venus, the planet of love, is still in Virgo, and yes, it does fall within this grand Earth trine. So this kind of helps to make up and smooth over some of these oppositions within relationships or frustrations of the day for this week. But with Venus in Virgo and applying the opposition to Neptune, there could be also some weather related anomalies, connections with water, the overabundance of water, or concerns with water or oil, minerals, and the like. And what else? It's about the 12th house by the 6th house, so there could be a lot of discussions with regards to health care, hospitals, anything to deal with the 6th house, 12th house, diet, exercise now. So that's also going to be a focus of our attention, which in this opposition may be good, but we don't want to get carried away with those issues of as well. But yes, for most this week, there may be some discussions about the weather and water or moisture. So we're going to look ahead to the next day, which indeed is now Tuesday, and it is Halloween. And what a day for Halloween it is, especially since we've got this Scorpio stellium. Yes, indeed. And we are applying, within probably a matter of days, between Mercury and Neptune at the end of the week. So this is a really good time for kind of like the day before on Monday for really expressing our sense of giving, sensitivity, and charity. We really want to really kind of figure out what's going on with each other. And speaking of which, with this applying trine with Neptune towards the end of the week, this may be a time that, especially here with Scorpio and the depositor of Mars and Pluto, we may be called upon this week to help each other because that's what Scorpio is about. And with the depositor, even in Capricorn, it's about taking our efforts of charity and giving and support, emotional nourishment, and so on very seriously. Yes. So that's going to be a focus more later on in the week than the beginning of the week, but nonetheless, there is an applying trine with Neptune. Very sensitive. Also, a good time for what? Especially on Halloween here. It's a good time for the mystical because that's what Neptune represents with the 12th house and Pisces and the Scorpio stellium, the applying trine with Neptune. So, yes, this is going to be a rather spiritual or a very mystical Halloween indeed. And boy, we have much to talk about with the moon in Gemini. Oh, yes, we are feeling restless. We want to socialize. A great time for those parties on Tuesday on Halloween. We want to be out and about. It's good for the written word, the spoken word. We're doing all forms of communication at its best on Tuesday, but we must be cautious though because we do have mostly on Wednesday, early Thursday, the applying square with Neptune and the moon. So we're a little bit confused on Tuesday as well. Kind of starts off on Monday with a little bit of some fussiness and critical error to each other. But on Tuesday, it kind of continues that lack of clarity in our communications with each other. So be clear on Tuesday about what you mean and say what you mean what you say, and especially because the third house is connected with Gemini, you want to make sure all your travel plans on Tuesday are up to snuff pretty well. And also, there could be some issues with technological, mechanical, especially technological issues with this moon in Gemini as well on Tuesday. So make sure all your travel plans and communication plans, party plans, Halloween plans, you name it, are lined up very well and organized. And as we have here almost but not quite on Tuesday, but mostly Wednesday, and applying T square in the mutable signs between Pisces, Moon in Gemini, and the love planet of Venus and Virgo. So that kind of only lends some confusion that's just beginning with some frustration on Tuesday and will surmount on Wednesday. So this is what we really have to watch out for as the aforementioned issues of travel. Make sure all your travel plans are organized and looked into, and also anything to do with written words, spoken words, social, anything, travel. You want to make sure all your communications are extremely clear because that could really create the issues here, besides a little bit of these oppositions between Scorpio and Taurus. So let's look ahead at next day, and that is officially Wednesday and officially the first day of November, and the moon is void in Gemini. So this isn't a good day on Wednesday for any communications that you want to begin, any important discussions, or hold off. And with this moon in Gemini connected with all forms of communication, hold off on any important negotiations. But if you have to, well, then so be it. But it's all about what? The positive here. It's all about our sensitivity with the Scorpio Pisces connection. So if you have to have important communications on Wednesday or meetings, well, then the key here is to apply your sensitivity and your psychic insight because that is what is really heightened right now, even on Wednesday. Yep, the Scorpio stellium is still in force, as well as the Virgo Venus. So this week it's all about something that we want to get to the bottom of because Scorpio and Virgo and especially Pisces here, are all about doing some background work. So if you have any research this week or any investigative work, so to speak, this is the week. And as always, with Scorpio and Pisces, this favors a lot in the way of metaphysical, psychical work, and so on. But yes, on the more practical side, it's about getting to the facts, figuring out the unforeseen, maybe, yes, the secrets. It's about going behind the scenes and digging to find out the truth. And that's also what this week is going to be about. While Venus is finishing up in the sign of Virgo, and you've got that Neptune connection. And because Neptune is retrograde, we also may find some really good historical finds, but again, there could be some weather related issues with this abundance of water. So, this could be really strongly connected with moisture, water, and sometimes with retrograde Neptune, even the lack of water. So this will be a center of discussion this week. And let's move to the next day, which is on, yes, indeed, Thursday, November 2nd. And now the moon is in security minded Cancer. So that's where our thoughts are on Thursday. It's about home and family, kind of protecting each other. And what's really sweet here is Saturn is in early Pisces retrograde, and early on Thursday or very late Wednesday night, while the moon just goes into the sign of Cancer. We are really feeling kind of sensitive, maybe a little bit sensitive, and rather emotional. And with Saturn retrograde, with this wide trine to the moon late Wednesday, very early Thursday, we are feeling rather sentimental. So there may be some issues from the past that come up now that really get our sensitivities going and our emotions. Or who knows, maybe it's an actual person or information from the past that come about now late Wednesday and Thursday. But it's a really wonderful time with this moon in its own of Cancer to express our sensitivities, our emotions without getting too drama oriented. And the moon will then apply a beautiful grand trine within about a day and a half or so to the Scorpio stellium, well, Mercury and Neptune. So this is a good time if you want to just roll up your sleeve and help somebody, kind of dig in for charity. And this is what's going to be the topic of the day on Thursday. And that's all too positive because even though we're a little bit irritated there a day earlier with the moon in Gemini and falling into this T mutable square and being a little bit unsure of what we want to say, or a little bit ornery regarding our communications. Well, on Thursday, this is well made up for with this beautiful applying trine, grand trine here. But certainly there is a trine with the Sun and Mars, and oh, that's the depositor with Pluto of the Scorpio stellium. So on Thursday, it may get a little emotional. Yes, there could be some issues with water. Yes, Wednesday, Thursday. But guess what? It's real about really putting ourselves out there, kind of wearing our heart on our sleeve, if you will, on Thursday. But that's all too good. But we still got this sense of research and digging in the background. So we've gonna look ahead to the next day, and it is officially Friday, November 3rd, and the moon is in Cancer, and we are now in an official on Friday grand water trine uh, on Friday to start off the weekend. And there is on top of it, this is somewhat rare, I should say, but there's a rather wide grand Earth trine, so we have kind of a double grand trine on Friday. Real rare in Earth between Uranus, Pluto, and Venus, and between water of the moon in Cancer and Mercury in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces. Live it up this weekend, folks, because on Friday with that double grand trine, now this is called a Merkaba, but generally most people think of a Merkaba or a double grand trine as I believe it is earth and air, something like that. But nonetheless, there is a beautiful connection with the double grand trine and earth and water on Friday. So, yes, indeed, mark that on your calendar. And what is water? Water is about our emotions. So, we are good for creativity, for the arts, you name it. On Friday, for charity. We are good for what? Producing money, getting good job news, and with the connection with Venus, with this grand Earth trine, it is really good for expressing love, affection, you name it. So on Friday, this is going to be very stellar. So if you want to begin anything, Friday is your day. Great for relationships. But in all this goodness, yes, we cannot omit this opposition with Scorpio and Taurus. So, however, because Scorpio and Taurus both fall within the Earth and water grand trines, it looks that the conflicts may be replaced with a good amount of love, communication, sympathies, and sensitivities without getting too lost in drama. And very good for money and very good for expression of all types. And let's look ahead to the next day, which is Saturday, November 4th. And now the moon is in Leo. However, it's good for creativity, kind of like the day before with those double grand trines. But now things are going to get a little more serious over the weekend because the moon is now in the fixed sign of Leo. Very creative, very heartfelt and warm. We want to be a little bit of the star on the show on Saturday, and that's all good. Maybe we want to show off our talents a little bit. It's fire. We're feeling energetic, but we have this square or applying square with the sun, Mars, and Mercury. And they're kind of rolling the show right now. So with this moon in Leo, we do have to kind of watch that we don't get in any kind of disputes that are really unnecessary. And this could, as we go into Saturday, involve the masses and anything that has to do with groups or gatherings, because we are going to have Uranus that is going to apply in this mix here. But on Saturday, we have the square with the moon in Leo and generous Jupiter, so we don't want to get carried away and overspending because we may have regrets later on that we spent a little bit too much for our pocketbook. Because yes, Leo is all about our generosity, and Jupiter is in the sign, the money sign of Taurus. So, yes, there may be some good bargains that we find now, and you can count on that on Friday with that double grand trine there. And we just want to splurge a little bit, but keep in mind Yes, we may go over the top about it because of Jupiter squaring off with the moon, but also keep in mind here, we may also get a little bit carried away in the disputes department because we're talking fixed signs here: Scorpio, Leo, and Jupiter and Taurus, and little bitty conflicts here could be made a mountain out of a molehill because Jupiter is involved. And uh, that may also involve group or social conflicts, social internet, groups, gatherings, and so on. We kind of want to take the lead here with this fixed emphasis here. And yet we're still being kind of staid and stubborn to what we think is right and wrong. And that could be a little bit of the issue here. Yes. Uh, but there still is a bit of a grand trine going on here with Earth. So we're not going to get, hopefully, too carried away with drama. And we have the North Node and the South Node in Libra and Aries. So for quite some time now, the focus is going to be on partnerships, relationships, legality. And so we're going to have to kind of balance our need to be number one. As yes, even the North Node is just past, well, a little bit past the Chiron, the healer. So we're going to have to focus on balancing out relationships and really kind of focusing on the give and take about the me first and wanting to give in relationships and create peace, harmony, and cooperation. And there may be, yes, talks about legalities, the courts. This is going to come into a focus now. And there could be an issue that kind of hits our sensitivities with that because of the square with powerhouse Pluto during this week, something to do with something legal that we may have to keep an eye on, as well as cooperation within relationships, business, personal, you name it, with the square with the South Node, North Node, and Pluto. But yes, we're going to look forward to the next day as the moon is still in Leo. And finally, it's the last day of the week. It is Sunday. And Sunday, yes, the moon is further along in the sign of Leo. And yes, it is applying a square to Uranus. So on Sunday, there could be some big earthquakes or big earth changes as we have this T square in fixed signs. So yes, on Friday, maybe very early Saturday, it was all about our sensitivities and that double grand trine. Oh, what joy it was! All about really giving and charity to each other in every way. But come Sunday, there's a little bit of an atmosphere, environmental, astrological change. So now we're kind of back to this really kind of getting clenched in frustrations. It's not always about disagreements. Sometimes there can be frustrations on Sunday of issues that we must take care of. Yes, that could involve conflicts, but yes, it's also some frustrations that we may have to look into, that may have to be solved, or we may find that on Sunday there's an issue that we may have to make a choice, or we may have to close the book on something. Because keep in mind, Scorpio is connected with the eighth house, and that's depth and endings. And we've got the square with Leo and Uranus in Taurus Sunday. So there's going to be something, whether it's an argument, whether it's, who knows, it could even be a project, what have you, that we have to close the book on. There's something that's going to come to an end on Sunday, and it could be a little bit of an unpleasant end, or maybe not. It could be something that we feel that's a need for closure with something. And in fact, this is actually a good thing that gives us kind of peace of mind. After all, we do have the trine with Mercury and Neptune, so that's really good, working on our sensitivities and kind of being easy than hard on ourselves on Sunday. So don't be self-critical, don't be overly critical or bullying, kind of trying to get over on each other on Sunday, because keep in mind the depositor of this Scorpio stellium is Mars, which is very aggressive, and Pluto, which is all about our sense of power. So yes, that's another thing on Sunday. We could be set off with some power plays with each other. And then you've got this opposition. So there's kind of a wide T-square in the fixed signs here yet on Sunday. So take a hint from Friday's beautiful double grand trine, that we really have to apply kindness and objectivity and not get lost, as it's showing at times during this week, in group conflicts. That could be with friends, it could be social, anything, gatherings, you name it. We want to really apply our kindness, our charity, and that's going to be the beauty about this week. It's about our sensitivities to each other. I can't say that enough. It's really about our heightened sense of our intuition. There's going to be a heightened interest in spiritual issues and maybe that which is connected with the unknown. It's a great week for research, a great work to dig in and work hard with this Scorpio Taurus Pluto connection. And yes, there may be some issues, even at times, with leadership because of this Scorpio Pluto connection as well. But you know what? If we keep our nose to the grindstone, we work hard, and we avoid and sidestep any kind of disputes or differences of opinion, or we keep that at bay and not let that get grand out of proportion with the Jupiter connection, then this week will be indeed very productive. If you'd like to get in touch with me, my contact information is down below. I give one-on-one readings and written reports. Please subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification. Until next time, many, many blessings.